Top 10 ways introverts thrive in the hip-hop industry. 1. Depth over clout. Introverts don't chase attention. They build meaning. In an industry often driven by visibility, this becomes a quiet advantage. Lyrics. Introverts write from observation and lived experience, not trends. Their bars carry layered themes, identity, struggle, reflection, growth, that listeners return to long after a viral hook fades. Depth creates replay value, not just streams. Production. Time alone sharpens sound design. Introverts experiment, refine, and obsess over details, drum textures, sample choice, silence, pacing. This results in music that feels intentional, not rushed to meet hype cycles. Visuals. Instead of loud, flashy aesthetics, introverts favor symbolism and atmosphere. Their visuals tell stories, mood, color, framing, subtle narratives that align with the music rather than distract from it. Message. Introverts think long-term. They ask, what does this say about me? What will this mean in 5 years? That mindset builds a coherent identity, not scattered moments chasing attention. Why it wins in hip-hop? Clout fades fast. Substance builds catalogs, loyal listeners, and cultural impact. Hip-hop has always respected artists who mean something, even if they weren't the loudest in the room. Introverts don't need to be seen everywhere. They just need to be felt consistently, deeply, and honestly. 2. Mastery of the craft. Introverts win where hip-hop quietly separates artists from legends. Skill. Time alone isn't isolation, it's training. Writing and lyricism. Solitude allows introverts to rewrite without ego. Bars get refined, cadences tightened, metaphors layered. Instead of chasing punchlines for reactions, introverts build verses that age well and reveal more with every listen. Beat making and production. Deep focus turns into sound identity. Introverts experiment with tempo, texture, and silence, learning how space hits just as hard as drums. Repetition leads to instinct, and instinct creates signature sound. Engineering and sound quality. While others rush releases, introverts obsess over clarity. Mixing, leveling, vocal placement, and frequency balance become second nature through patience and repetition. Clean sound earns respect before the first bar lands. Storytelling and concept building. Introverts naturally think in systems and arcs. Albums become narratives, not random tracks. Themes connect. Motifs repeat. Listeners feel intention, not confusion. Repetition without burnout. Introverts recharge alone, making long hours sustainable. Practice isn't forced, it's immersive. That consistency compounds into mastery others underestimate until it's undeniable. Why it matters in hip-hop. Trends change. Algorithms shift. Skill stays. Hip-hop culture ultimately crowns those who can do it at any moment, not just when attention is high. Introverts don't rely on moments. They rely on muscle memory, precision, and craft, earned quietly, proven loudly. 3. Authentic voice. Introverts don't perform identity, they live it. In hip-hop, where credibility is currency, that realness carries weight. Lived experience over image. Introverts pull from real moments, struggle, observation, solitude, growth. Their music reflects who they are off-camera, not a character built for attention. That consistency makes the message believable. Emotion without exaggeration. Instead of overacting emotions, introverts let them sit. Pain, hunger, pride, doubt, and reflection come through naturally. Listeners feel it because it isn't forced, it's remembered. Natural tone and delivery. Introverts often rap or create with a grounded presence. Even when the energy is aggressive or confident, it feels controlled, intentional, and earned, not loud for approval. Resistance to trend identity. Introverts are less likely to copy accents, slang, or personas just to fit in. They protect their voice, knowing once authenticity is lost, it's hard to regain trust. Trust from the audience. Hip-hop fans can sense performance. Authentic artists don't need to explain themselves. Their catalog speaks. Trust grows because the message stays aligned over time. Why hip-hop respects this? From the beginning, hip-hop rewarded truth-tellers. Skill matters, but honesty creates legacy. Authentic voices survive when hype fades. Introverts don't need to prove who they are. They let the music introduce them, slowly, honestly, and without compromise. 4. Observational lyricism. Introverts don't rush to speak. They watch first. In hip-hop, that patience becomes precision. Reading the room. Introverts pick up on tone shifts, body language, power dynamics, and unspoken tension. They notice who's silent, who's fronting, and what's really happening beneath the surface. Those details become bars others miss. Sharp social commentary. Because introverts observe systems, not just moments, their lyrics often critique culture, industry politics, street dynamics, and fame itself. The commentary feels accurate because it's studied, not reactive. Vivid storytelling. Small details create big impact. Introverts remember how a room smelled, how a look felt, how a moment paused. That sensory awareness turns verses into scenes listeners can visualize. Economy of words. Introverts don't waste lines. Every bar serves a purpose. No filler, no shouting for emphasis. The restraint makes each line land harder. Bars that age well. Observational lyrics aren't tied to trends or hype. They're rooted in human behavior, making them relevant long after the moment passes. Why it hits in hip-hop. Hip-hop rewards truth sharpened by awareness. The quietest person in the room often sees the most, and when they finally speak, people listen. Introverts don't raise their voice to be heard. They say the line everyone was thinking but couldn't articulate. 5. Emotional range and vulnerability. Introverts live inward. That inner world becomes a creative advantage in a genre built on truth, pain, pride, and transformation. Natural introspection. Introverts spend time examining their thoughts, failures, fears, and growth. That self-awareness translates into lyrics and sounds that feel honest, not manufactured. Layered emotion, not one note. Instead of sticking to one emotion, anger, flexing, or confidence, introverts blend them. Strength with doubt, success with loneliness, pride with reflection. That complexity mirrors real life. Vulnerability without weakness. Introverts don't overshare for sympathy. They reveal just enough to let listeners see themselves. In hip-hop, controlled vulnerability builds respect because it takes courage to be real without begging for validation. Connection over consumption. Listeners don't just hear the music, they feel understood. Introverted artists create records people sit with, not just play in the background. Safe space for the audience. When an artist expresses inner conflict honestly, it gives permission for the listener to do the same. That emotional resonance builds loyalty stronger than trends. Why hip-hop needs this? Hip-hop isn't only about bravado, it's about survival, identity, and meaning. Emotional range gives the culture depth and keeps it human. Introverts don't just make songs. They create mirrors where listeners recognize parts of themselves they didn't know how to name. 6. Consistency over hype cycles. Introverts aren't wired for constant noise. That makes them resistant to one of hip-hop's biggest traps, chasing moments instead of building catalogs. Quiet, steady output. Instead of disappearing between bursts of attention, introverts create on a rhythm they can sustain. That steady flow trains listeners to trust the work, not the hype. Quality control first. Introverts don't rush drops for clout. They sit with tracks, revise them, and release only what meets their internal standard. Fewer releases, higher impact. Less trend dependency. Because introverts aren't chasing validation, they're less reactive to whatever sound is hot this month. Their music stays grounded in identity, which prevents creative whiplash. Catalog thinking. Introverts think in bodies of work, not singles. Projects feel cohesive, intentional, and replayable, qualities that age better than trend-driven hits. Organic growth. Instead of spikes followed by silence, introverts build slowly. The audience grows deeper, not just wider, leading to longer careers and stronger fan loyalty. Why it wins long-term. Hip-hop history favors artists whose music still feels relevant years later. Hype fades. Catalogs compound. Introverts don't chase waves. They build shorelines, solid enough to last after the tide pulls back. 7. Producer and architect energy. Introverts naturally excel where hip-hop is actually built behind the scenes. While the spotlight focuses on the performer, introverts design the foundation that makes everything work. Sound architects, not noisemakers. Producers and engineers shape mood, energy, and emotion through detail. Introverts thrive in this space because they're comfortable spending hours fine-tuning drums, melodies, and vocal textures until the sound feels right. Solitude as a creative engine. Long studio sessions alone aren't draining for introverts, they're energizing. This allows for deep experimentation, mistakes, and breakthroughs that rushed environments never allow. System thinkers. Introverts think in layers and structures. They understand how verses, hooks, drops, and transitions work together. This makes them powerful arrangers who can turn raw ideas into cohesive records. Low ego, high impact. Behind-the-scenes roles reward focus over fame. Introverts don't need constant credit to stay motivated, which often leads to more consistent output and better working relationships. Trust builders in the studio. Artists feel safe with introverted producers and engineers. The calm presence reduces pressure, helping performers deliver more authentic takes. Legacy through sound, not spotlight. Some of hip-hop's most influential figures aren't always front-facing, but their fingerprints are everywhere. Introverts build careers by shaping culture, not chasing visibility. Introverts don't need to be seen to be powerful. They design the sound others stand on, and that influence lasts longer than attention. 8. Selective collaboration. Introverts don't collaborate out of convenience or clout. They collaborate with intention, and that selectiveness turns into creative chemistry. Quality over quantity. Instead of jumping on every feature or studio invite, introverts wait for alignment. Fewer collaborations mean more focus, less dilution of sound, and stronger artistic identity. Energy awareness. Introverts are sensitive to creative energy. They know when a room is productive versus ego-driven. Choosing the right people protects the process and keeps sessions efficient. Deeper creative trust. Working with a small circle builds comfort. That trust allows honest feedback, risk-taking, and experimentation, key ingredients for standout records. Clear roles, less ego. Selective collaborators respect each other's lanes. Sessions become about building the best record, not competing for attention. Consistency in sound. Intentional collaboration helps develop a recognizable style. Listeners can feel cohesion instead of randomness across projects. Long-term partnerships. Introverts often form durable creative bonds, producer-artist duos, writer circles, or tight teams that grow together over time. Why it works in hip-hop. Hip-hop rewards chemistry. The most iconic sounds came from focused partnerships, not crowded rooms. Introverts don't network loudly. They connect deeply, and that depth produces work people remember. 9. Resilience to industry noise. Introverts naturally protect their focus, making them less vulnerable to the distractions and drama of the music industry. This resilience becomes a strategic advantage. Less need for validation. Introverts aren't chasing likes, follows, or clout. They measure success by craft, growth, and authenticity rather than external approval. This keeps them grounded when attention spikes or drops. Immune to comparison traps. While others stress over charts, social media numbers, or trending challenges, introverts maintain perspective. They focus on their own trajectory, which leads to steadier creative development. Resistance to politics and drama. Industry politics, label demands, and social media conflicts can derail careers. Introverts navigate these spaces calmly, picking battles carefully and avoiding burnout from unnecessary noise. Focus on long-term goals. Without constant distraction from hype or competition, introverts can prioritize practice, collaboration, and strategic releases. This patience compounds into a lasting career. Mental and emotional health. By limiting exposure to gossip, toxic environments, and performative spaces, introverts preserve energy, reduce stress, and maintain creative clarity. Why it matters in hip-hop. The industry can reward loudness and attention, but those who survive and innovate are the ones who stay focused when the crowd gets chaotic. Introverts don't need to scream to be heard. They stay steady, build quietly, and let their work speak louder than the noise. 10. Legacy mindset. Introverts aren't focused on instant fame. They're focused on impact. In hip-hop, where trends fade fast, thinking long-term separates temporary stars from enduring legends. Catalog over singles. Introverts prioritize creating bodies of work instead of chasing viral moments. Albums, mixtapes, and curated projects are built with care, cohesiveness, and intention, leaving a lasting imprint. Cultural influence. Introverts understand that hip-hop isn't just about attention. It's about shaping sound, style, and ideas. Through subtle innovation, mentorship, or behind-the-scenes contributions, they influence the culture in ways that outlast trends. Measured moves. Instead of overextending for hype, introverts plan their careers strategically. Every release, collaboration, or performance is considered in the context of building a sustainable artistic identity. Mentorship and legacy building. Introverts often invest in guiding younger artists quietly, teaching craft, values, and perspective. This creates ripple effects that extend their influence beyond their own work. Enduring reputation. Hip-hop remembers authenticity, skill, and influence more than volume or clout. Introverts' consistent focus, craft mastery, and genuine voice ensure they are respected long after the spotlight shifts. Why it wins in hip-hop. Trends vanish, but culture and craft endure. Introverts naturally play the long game, building influence that shapes hip-hop history. Introverts don't chase the moment. They build something that lasts, records, movements, and a legacy the world can't ignore.